Good afternoon, American Literature. Since I am going to be gone for most of this week and we had some extra stuff that we needed to cover as far as formatting the research paper goes, I wanted to make this extra video for you to demonstrate how you need to be formatting your Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word. And so I'm going to go through this process step by step. I will show you visually using Microsoft Word. So what I would like for you to do right now is open up Microsoft Word on your computer. I'll hit the pause button right now. You hit the pause button right now, so you have that open, and then have that ready to go. Follow along with me. 3, 2, 1. Okay, hopefully you unpause the video now, and let's continue. You've got Microsoft Word open, and you're ready to go. So we're going to start today by talking about formatting the research paper. We're going to talk about the heading, the page numbering, the title, the spacing and paragraph spacing, the body of the paper, and the works cited page. So let's start by talking about the heading. The rules for the heading are that the heading has to appear at the upper left corner of the paper. The heading is double spaced. It will contain your name, my name, the name of the course, and the date. Okay, so it looks visually like this, except that it has your name, my name, Ing 303B or Ing 304B, and the date you'll see is in military style, which the date is due, the paper's due is Friday. The draft is due Friday, so that would say 9 February 2018. So let's switch to this document here, and I will do it with you. Let's pretend my name is Bob McFly. That's your name. This is the student's name. The paper is Mr. Safe. This is my class. The class is Ing 303B, or if you're in honors, 4B. Let's pretend you're in comp though. Ing 303B, and then the date this paper is due is 9 February 2018, and then you'll hit the enter button like that. Okay, so hit the pause button on this video right now. This is what your paper should look on Microsoft Word. Hit pause, make sure your document looks like this, and then hit the play button. All right, coming back to the PowerPoint showing you have your name, your teacher's name, the name of the course, and the date. So the next thing that we want to talk about is the page number. You're going to insert the page number by going to Insert and Page Number on Microsoft Word. The Insert tab is at the top, File, Home, Insert. You'll click Insert, and then you'll go to Page Number over here. You can see, I'll show you on Microsoft Word in just a second, but Insert, Page Number. You want your page number to go on the right side of the paper. So there's a setting you'll have to choose when you have that drop-down menu for page number. And the format of this is going to be your last name and the page number. Now, whenever you insert page number, it automatically puts a 1 in the corner. So you're going to click in front of the 1 and type your last name. And then you'll press space. So it should say your last name, space, 1. Okay, so let's switch back to Microsoft Word. You want to click Insert, Page Number, that drop-down menu, top of page, and you want it to be on the right side of the page, which would be plain number 3. Insert page number, plain number 3 on the top of the page. And you'll see how it gives me a 1 right here. I'm going to click 1 in front of it, type my last name, which is McFly, and then a space. McFly, space, 1. And then I'm going to double click out of it, back down here. Okay, hit the pause button on this video so you can get caught up. Make sure your page number looks like this, and you can come back when you're finished. Okay, so we're back in here. Let's go back to the PowerPoint slide. You have set your heading, your last name, my name, the name of the course, and the date. You should have set your page number by now. Insert, page number, and then you'll put your last name before the number 1. And when you do that, it automatically transfers your page numbers to the next ones. The next page would be McFly 2, McFly 3, McFly 4. It does it automatically if you insert page number. If you do it this way, where you insert it, it does it automatically, which is what you want. So now let's go to the title of the paper. Now what's important to note about the title is that there's no special font, no underlining, no italics, no bold. There is no difference between the title of the paper and the rest of the paper, except for the capitalized letters, toward, recovery, all the major words you can see they have these capitalized letters. But aside from that, there is no special font for this. The paper should be in Times New Roman, 12-point font, and the title is centered. That's the only special formatting the title gets, is that it's centered, whereas the rest of the paper is left aligned. There's no additional space after the title. Okay, so let's go back to our Microsoft Word document and we will add a title of the paper. We want to make sure that it's centered, so we'll click the center button, which is right here on your computer, on your Microsoft Word. Click center and it brings your cursor right to the middle. So we'll say the title of my paper is Hamilton, a Legacy. That's the title of my paper. Nothing cool, kind of dumb actually, but whatever. The purpose has been achieved. I have typed in my title, it's at the center of the paper, and I'm going to hit the enter button one time, like that, and it drops it down one line. And then I'm going to click left align again, which is right next to the center button. I'm going to left align, and so this is what your paper should look like up to this point, where it has your last name and the page number, my name, the name of the class, the date, your title is centered, and then your cursor is already back left aligned, ready to go. Hit the pause button on the video right now to make sure your paper's set like this, and when you're ready to go again, hit play. All right, so let's head back to the PowerPoint. We have done the heading, the page number, and the title. Now we're going to talk about spacing. The entire paper should be double spaced, including the heading and all paragraphs. You might be wondering, double spaced? Does that mean I hit the space bar twice? And the answer to that is no. Double space has nothing to do with the space bar. To double space something means to write one line, skip one line, write one line, skip one line, write one line, skip line, and so on and so forth. Okay, to double space means you have a line of white in between two lines of text. There's no additional spacing after each paragraph. So if your paragraph ends right here, you only hit the enter bar one time and it automatically drops it down to the next line. So let's go to Microsoft Word and see what this looks like. Okay, so you're going to start by hitting the tab button because you want to indent. Tab button is over on the left side of your keyboard, right above caps lock. It's about 2 below the escape button. So you'll start by hitting the tab button, and this is the start of my paper. Now, just to be clear, you don't start your paper by saying this is the start of my paper. This is for visual demonstration here. This is the start of my paper. And so this is where I'm just typing in random things here, like this, and it's beeping in my ear because I'm pressing buttons more than once. All right, so whenever you're coming to the end of your first paragraph, which this 4 lines, that's probably long enough, right? This is what your paper should visually look like except with real words. That's the end of my paragraph right here. And I'm going to hit the enter button one time. And that brings me to my second paragraph. And when I start my second paragraph, I will tab over, indent over, and this is the start of my second paragraph. And then, continuing on typing up that. So this is the first paragraph. This is the second paragraph. You'll notice that it's indented over, and what you'll see right here is that this is not double spaced. This paper right here is single spaced. There's no space between my lines. And so here's what I want to do to correct this problem. Pay attention, do this as well. Start at the top of your paper, click and drag all the way to the bottom of your paper. Let's start by changing this to Times New Roman now that everything is highlighted. Click up here where it says Calibri Body. There's a drop down arrow. You'll click that and scroll down to find in the T's Times New Roman. Okay. Then you want to change this 11 to a 12. And now that all of this is highlighted, we want to double space this. This is where you double space. This button right here, it's got the lines with the up and down arrow. Click the drop down arrow and change to 2.0. And you'll see how my entire paper is now double spaced, including my heading, my title, my first paragraph, my second paragraph. Now, one more thing, double click up in your top right corner, double click your last name and the page number, and you want to change these to Times New Roman 12-point font as well. And then double click back down, your cursor back down to where you left off. And now you're ready to continue. Hit the pause button. Make sure your paper looks like this. Maybe you have some real words instead of my scribbles here. But make sure your paper looks like this, and then hit the play button again, and we'll continue. Okay, so heading back to PowerPoint, we want to make sure the entire paper is double spaced, and there's no additional spacing after each paragraph. Remember, we only hit the enter button one time after we finish a paragraph, and then we continue. So the body of the paper should be left alignment. We've already done that. You indent the first line of each paragraph. You use Times New Roman 12-point font. Those are the steps that we just took to make sure that our entire paper is formatted this way. So one more time, let's go back and look at our paper. Times New Roman 12-point font. It's all double spaced. The title is centered, but the rest of the paper is left aligned. And the first line of every paragraph is indented over 1/2 inch. You do that by pressing the tab button, remember. So visually, this is the correct formatting for your paper. Times New Roman, 12-point font, double spaced. All right, so let's head back to our PowerPoint here, and we need to talk about the works cited information. We talked about this in class today. Make sure you watch that recording if you have not seen the recording yet, what your in-text citation should look like. In-text citation, in parentheses, what an in-text citation is any time that you borrow information from another source other than your own brain, you need to give credit to the source that you borrowed information from. So, for example, if you borrow a quote from a book written by Smith and you took it from page 75, then in parentheses it would say Smith 75 after the quote that you borrowed. Take a look at this example down here, right in the middle. Take a look at this one in the middle. Romantic poetry is characterized by the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. This quote comes from Wordsworth, and it was taken from page 263. So the in-text citation would look like this, in parentheses, Wordsworth 263, end parentheses, and then the period goes after the parentheses. It doesn't go before it, it doesn't go inside the sentence. The period goes after the in-text citation. You'll notice inside the parentheses there's no other punctuation. It doesn't say Wordsworth, comma, 263. It doesn't say Wordsworth P period 263. That's a different formatting style. For our format style, you just have the last name and the page number. If it has a page number. If it doesn't have a page number, then you just have Wordsworth in parentheses. Now take a look at this one to see the difference of what this is. This has the author in the sentence. Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was marked by a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. So technically, because you put the name of the source in the sentence, you don't really need to put it inside the parenthetical citation. You could just have the page number there. But for my comfort of knowing that you understand what you're doing, I would prefer you put the source in the parentheses like this. Okay, so this is what a parenthetical in-text citation would look like. You give the quote that you're borrowing information from, and then in parentheses, you give the name of the source and the page number. That's half of a citation. The other half has to do with putting it in your works cited page. So if this is the in-text citation right here, romantic poetry is characterized by the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings, in parentheses, Wordsworth 263, end parentheses, period. The corresponding works cited entry, the works cited page goes at the end of the paper, the works cited entry would be formatted like this. Now, years ago, you would have had to learn how to do this. Fortunately for you, it's 2018, and we have the technology. Okay, technology can do it for you, and that's totally fine if you don't know how. But what you'll see here is that the last name, comma, first name, period. The title of the book is in italics, period. It was published in London, colon, by the Oxford University Printing Press, maybe, comma, 1967 was the year it was published, period, and it's a print source, period. So this is what it should look like if you had to learn how to do it yourself. But since we're virtual, we can use the virtual sources for that. But this is what the works cited page would look like. And there are rules for the works cited page, like it would need to be in alphabetical order. We'll talk about all of that in the coming weeks. That's not one of our purposes right now. But these are the basic rules, that your works cited page is on a separate page at the end of your research paper. It should have the same 1-inch margins and last name, page number, header as the rest of your paper. Label the page as works cited. Do not italicize the words or put them in quotation marks or bold or underline or anything. It's still Times New Roman 12-point font. You just write works cited at the very top in the center. Double space all of your citations, but do not skip between entries. Indent the second and subsequent lines of citations by 0.5 inches to create a hanging indent, and list page numbers of sources efficiently when needed. Okay, so this is something that I will teach you more specifically later. These are just the basic rules for you to get an idea. It would look like this: last name, comma, first name, period, title of the book in italics, period, city of publication, colon, the publishing company, comma, the year of publication, period, and then the type of publication, whether it's a print source or an internet source or whatever. So this is basically what the works cited page format would look like. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now, this is the document we've been working on. I have a sample document. This is an essay written by a student in a previous year. I've taken out all of the personal information, and this is mostly just a visual representation of what you should be aiming your paper to look like. Oh, wrong one. Here it is. So this is the student's paper. You'll notice student name, my name, the name of the course, the date, last name and page number up here in the top right corner. And if you scroll down, you can see that it changes to last name 2, last name 3, last name 4. It does that automatically whenever you do the insert, page number, top of page. Whenever you follow this format, it makes the page number change automatically, but your last name stays the same. So formatting, you can see it's double spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. The title is centered, everything else is left aligned. The first line is indented over with the tab button, and after you reach the end of your paragraph, you just hit the enter button one time, and it automatically starts down at the next line. So visually, this is what your paper should look like. Showing you this very quickly, and then we'll talk about in-text citations. This, and this is the works cited page. As you can see down here in the bottom left corner, the word count for this is 1,841. The minimum, of course, is 1,800 words. So this paper meets the minimum word count. In-text citations are where you put in parentheses the name of the source, the page number that it came from, if you have a page number. So take a look at this paraphrase right here. It doesn't have to be a direct quote. It can be a paraphrase. Any information you borrow from another source, credit needs to be given to it. They settled in various places across the country in both rural and urban settings. This is a quote or a paraphrase from a book written by Ed Keller and others. That's what et al. Means, and others. And it came from page 526 of that book. So in parentheses, Ed Keller et al. 526, end parentheses, and then the period. Notice the period's here at the end of the sentence, not before the citation. That's something that your paper will be counted off for if you don't do it correctly, the punctuation of the citation. Look at this next one. As they filled up jobs in factories and shops, they became an integral part of the American economy. Again, no punctuation here. In parentheses, this comes from the source Hirschman and Mogford. There's no page number for this, so it's just Hirschman and Mogford. And in parentheses, and then a period afterwards. This is a correct in-text citation for that source. Merriam-Webster, a dictionary. Nativism can be defined as a policy of favoring native inhabitants as opposed to immigrants. There's no punctuation here, no period before the in-text citation. The period comes after. Okay, so if these are in-text citations, then what does the works cited page look like? If we scroll all the way down to the very last line, the very last page of the document, page 7 is the works cited page. The title is centered. The title is centered. It's Times New Roman 12-point font. There's no special formatting, no underline, bold, or anything. Times New Roman 12-point font, centered. And you'll notice that these sources are, 1, alphabetical, A, G, H, I, K, M, M, and so on and so forth. So they're alphabetical. You'll notice that they're double spaced, Times New Roman 12-point font double spaced. And the difference between this formatting and the formatting of a paragraph is the indent. When you have a paragraph in writing, you know that you indent the first line like this. The first line of the paragraph is indented, everything else is on the margin. For the works cited page, however, it's the exact opposite. And this, again, this is something you guys will learn in the coming weeks, but you'll notice that the first line is on the margin, and then every other line afterwards is indented over a ½ inch. There's a setting for this. I'll show you now, but I'll show you again later. If you highlight your source, there's this box with an arrow coming out of it on the paragraph button. You click that, and special, you change to hanging. This is called a hanging indent. This is called a hanging indent. So this is what your works cited page should look like. But again, there is technology that does this for you. It can cite all of your sources for you. You just copy and paste them over to this and change the formatting. And that's what I'm going to show you eventually. Okay, so formatting your paper. Your document that is due on Friday, your 401 draft, must be formatted this way or it will not be accepted. It'll be a temporary 0 until you fix it and format it correctly. So make sure you followed along this video exactly as you were told to. Make sure your paper is edited exactly as it looks. And good luck. Make sure you submit your paper before Friday. You'll get feedback on it. Make sure you read that feedback to see what you need to do to correct it. All right, guys. Thank you for paying attention and have a good week. I will see you in live help on Thursday at 10 a.m. And other than that, enjoy this video.